Oh, hello, welcome. I didn't see you there. Welcome. You just caught me having a cup of tea in front of my very convincing Christmas backdrop. All kidding aside, I wanted to welcome you guys to a special Jingle Ball edition of Tiny Modernist cross-stitch tutorials. So welcome. Today we're going to have a look at how to finish ornaments in a flat finish. So specifically the ornament that you may have seen in the Jingle Ball book that's available for sale. This is my little Nutcracker ornament. And the way he's finished is what's called a flat finish. And so it doesn't need that many things. There's a lot of just crafty stuff that you may have at home or you can pick up at craft shops. Some hot glue, some fabric, ribbon, things like that. Felt back. So we're going to look through how to do this finish. And I'm also going to show you how to do a circular finish as well for your ornaments, which is a slightly different technique. Has a felt background as well. But I keep saying background, but I mean backing and the cording around the edge. So a lot of it's done with hot glue or stitching. You can see this one is stitched here. So without any further ado, we will get to the tutorial portion. Okay, so here's our supplies. We've got our finished stitching. Cute little snowman and the tree. We're going to finish these two as flat finishes in two separate ways. So the first one is a square, which I'm going to do the snowman finish on a square, and I'll show you how to do a couple of different ribbon finishes. And the other one is going to be a circle. So these shapes I've cut out of mat board. For the square I just measured it, and the circle I actually used a protractor. So make your circle a little bit bigger than the finished stitching. So I think my square I made about 2¼ inches, and I did the same diameter for the circle, so it's going to fit around nicely. So these are cut out of mat board, and in addition to the mat board pieces, you're going to need quilting cotton batting that are going to fit on top of here. It looks like this. It's just purchased from Michael's. It's for the inside of quilts. I cut it down to fit whatever size I need. So we're going to cut a matching piece for the circle and the square. Okay. And what you're going to do is actually wrap these around like that, so it gives a bit more padding. We're going to glue this down first. Also for the back, to finish it off, I've cut two matching shapes as well. This is a circle that is slightly smaller and a square that's slightly smaller. We're going to use this to finish off the back. I've also got some nice ribbon here, Christmassy ribbon that we're going to use to hang it, and also one as a decorative item. You'll also need a hot glue gun, and some extra glue sticks. Fabric scissors, of course, come in handy. And actually to cut the mat board, you'll notice that I'm using a rubber mat, which you can see has been quite well used over the years, but it's still useful. I use a little X-Acto knife and a metal ruler. It has some cork on the back. I find this cuts a lot better with an edge. I have a plastic ruler, but this actually is a nice cutting edge. So I use this to cut the mat board. I buy giant pieces of mat board from Michael's. If you go to the framing department, they have it in large sheets, and I cut that down, and it works for all kinds of stuff. So I use that as well, just cutting it down. All right, so this is basically all the supplies that you need. I'm going to plug in the glue stick, and I'll meet you back here in a second to finish it up. Okay, I'm back. So the first thing I'm going to do actually is I'm going to finish the square one, but we're going to attach these two pieces here with some craft glue sliding around. So we're just going to match that up. Press it into place. And we'll do the same on the circle. I'm just going to line them up here. Now, I just eyeball everything. You guys are more than welcome to measure exactly, but especially for something like this, I sort of just eyeball it like this to get it kind of centered. You can see there's about the same amount of space between here and his hat at the top. So I just flip it over. I sort of just finger press it into place, and that gives me a good idea of whether it's actually centered. Looks like I cut off a bit too much on the one side. That's what happens when you have a camera around your neck. And then keeping it in place, hopefully my glue gun is hot now, I'm going to just put a little dab in the corners. And the first thing I do is fold the corners down. Again, I like to press it into place first. I'll do each side one at a time. Okay, so now we have our little snowman, and I'm going to add some finishing touches before we add the felt on the back. So I'm going to show you how to do these on the corner. Again, they're just hot glued. So I'm going to cut 4 lengths of ribbon. There we go. All right, and again, we're just going to hot glue these on. So if you place each one on the corner, like so. Okay. Flip them over. Like that. So I'll do all 4. Okay, so I've glued down all 4 sides of the snowman. And now we're going to add a loop at the top. I've decided to use this ribbon here. So I've cut a piece that's 14 inches long. And I'm going to put them together. Make sure when you fold it that you overlap them like this and stick them in behind. It just makes a nicer loop at the top that you can see both sides of the pattern. So we're going to put him on the bottom like that and glue it. So center it up here, flip it over, and then we're just going to hot glue this pieces down here. There we go. So now the last thing we want to do is cover up all of this messiness on the back. So that's why we have our nice piece of white felt. I'm going to just put a decent amount of hot glue around. Center it onto the design. You're all set. So there's the square. I'm going to put that one aside now, and we'll work on the circle. So as you remember, we're going to do the tree, and I've already pre-cut it into a circle, and we've already glued our batting on. So this one is going to get centered on here. The technique is slightly different when it's a circle. I'm actually going to stitch around here and gather it onto the back rather than hot glue. So I've pre-threaded a needle, a sewing needle, with some sewing thread. So we're just going to stitch around here. The color doesn't necessarily have to match because it's not going to be seen. So we're just doing a running stitch close to the edge, not super close. You can see I'm pulling my thread a little bit as I go, just so I don't run out of thread. And we're back at the start here. So don't tie it off or anything, leave it loose. And we're going to, as I said, center it onto this. I don't want to see the red thread underneath it. So we're going to center it on here. And we're basically just going to tighten it very gently to the back. And at this time you have an opportunity to shift it around a little bit before it's tight. So we can pull it a little bit tighter. Make some adjustments on the front. There, see, it looks pretty good. Now we're going to tighten it on the back. Don't pull it too tight because the thread can break. So pull it tight. And then I like to take a few stitches across the middle of it, and that just serves to kind of hold it together. Almost like lacing. There. Yeah, see? You can see the front of it nice and clean. So here we can again just give it a little tug to keep it tight, and then I'm going to finish my thread off with a knot. There, and you have the front piece now. This one I'm just going to use ribbon for a hanging loop again. So it's going to be centered on the back like that. So we're just going to glue it down. So again, I'm just going to place a decent amount of glue around it. There. So now we have our second finish. All right, so I think we're just going to do a little bit more finishing on this. I wasn't happy with how plain it looked around the edge, so I have some pre-purchased gold cording that I'm going to wrap around the edge just to give it a little bit more of a shiny finish. So I've got the glue gun plugged in and hot, and so I'm going to start at the bottom. I'm going to tuck in the tails so you don't see them. So to start off, I'm going to just put this in the back like that. And when it's secure, I'm going to start to wrap it around more towards the front so that you can see it. Very tiny bead just along the edge. And then where you position your cording, you can roll it up a little bit, just like that. So I'm going to work my way around with a little bead of glue. And then just pushing it down nicely. And I'll just work my way around. Okay, so I'm just about at the end where I started. And what I'm going to do is show you just how to hide this other end as well. So I'm going to just put a little bit of glue on it. And we'll just finish off this little bit here. And then I'm going to bring it onto the back and trim my tail and hide it back here. There. Now we have a nice little gold edge. So I wanted to show you the angel finishing because this one is done the same as this one, only I made this cording out of embroidery floss. So same idea, I glued it around, and I wanted to show you how the back is finished because I spent a bit more time on this when I stitched the felt on. And if you have a plan, the trick would be then to hide your ends underneath the felt. So for this one, because it was kind of a last minute thing, I just ended it here. And I think that the ends should be okay, but you might find they fray or they don't look as nice maybe as when it's finished beneath your felt. And it just tucks in any loose ends. So I wanted to show you that one. I recommend doing more of a finished thing, but this one is just a little tiny quick finish for you. All right, thanks. Okay, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. And as you can see, it didn't take very long and it's not that complicated. You can do all kinds of fun things with it. I wanted to show you how I envisioned this finish for them. So I've did those 3, and you can see I've hung them onto a poplar branch that I had. And I think I may do a few more and have these hanging off the mantle. I was going to lean in on the mantle. So you can see these are fun little finishes for kind of a rustic Christmas look. And I'll just do a little quick plug here. These designs are part of one of my exclusives for Jingle Ball. So you can actually pick up these things. You can see them in the background here. So they're 12 little mini ornaments, which you can do separately as I've done those 3, or you can put them together in this configuration. This is actually the full design that I've set for you. And then you can pick them out and do whatever motifs you like for cards or ornaments and things like that. So that's a nice exclusive that I got available for this Jingle Ball event. And you can find that in my shop. So one thing I wanted to mention also was in the finish tutorial section, I didn't show you guys how to do the fabric on the back, and so I just wanted to mention it here. And it's fairly easy. So this guy here, I did just like these ones, right? So I've done the fabric wrapping around the mat board, and then instead of just doing the ribbon and backing, I've added a second layer. So this fabric is just quilting cotton. I pick up little fat quarters from fabric shops, or even like Walmart or Michael's or something has them. So I've picked something that matches, press it, cut it around the same kind of mat board and polyester quilt batting. And then I've added the ribbon around the entire thing to the back and covered that with felt. So it's easy to do a couple different layers. I've also done this technique in frames as well. So you can either take something like this, and rather than adding a loop, take this entire piece, without the felt obviously, and you can hot glue it to either a board, like a pre-purchased board, or I've done it in a frame as well, where I cut a large piece of mat board to fit the frame and then glued this right on. So it's almost like a shadow box type finish that way as well. So if you go back and look at my stuff, you'll see the last year or so I've used this in a lot of different ways to pick up matching fabrics and stuff. So anyways, I hope that you have enjoyed yourself here, and I want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays and safe and happy time for you and your family. Take care. Bye-bye.